Welcome to part 2 of my recovery story. My name is Amy Taylor. Addiction didn't just affect me, it affected my entire family. There was a moment when everything came to a breaking point, and I overdosed. It was one of the scariest times for my family. I went into a seizure and was taken by ambulance to the hospital. When I finally became coherent, I still couldn't bring myself to be honest about what had happened. I was afraid of how I would be treated, so I stuck to the story that I didn't know. I spent a week in the hospital because of that incident. Meanwhile, my kids were left thinking they might lose their mom. That reality is hard to sit with, because in that moment, my addiction didn't just affect me, it put my entire family in fear of losing me. My family of 5 lost our safe home. We stayed in local shelters and in hotels that were not family friendly. Some of the places we stayed during that time were truly heartbreaking. One of the homeless hotels had needles on the floor, just completely unsafe and overwhelming. Another place was even worse, an old rundown hotel that was no longer really in use. Everything was broken. It was dark, chaotic, and honestly terrifying. It was not a place meant for families, let alone children. I remember being scared to even take my kids downstairs by myself if we needed to leave the room. There was chaos everywhere you turned. But at the time, we had no other choice. We had nowhere else to go. The shame was overwhelming. The last time I went to get help was one of the hardest things I had to face of how my addiction was helping. The last time I went to get help, one of the hardest things I had to face was how my addiction was affecting the people I loved the most. My dearest friend of 20 years was expecting a baby, and months before, she'd asked me to help her daughter plan the baby shower. I had said yes with every intention of showing up, but when the time came, I had to call and tell her I couldn't do it. I let her down. My addiction got in the way of me being the friend I wanted to be. And the truth is, I couldn't even tell her why. I didn't have the courage to be honest about what I was really going through. Moments like that created distance between us, and over time, it built a wedge in our friendship. I came dangerously close to losing someone who meant so much to me, and that reality was heartbreaking. I did not want to live that way. I didn't want to be dependent on a substance, but I couldn't see a way out on my own. I tried quitting at home, but withdrawal, combined with raising 3 young children and trying to be a wife and a mother, was way more than I could handle. The pain, the sickness, the irritability, it always ended the same way. Before I knew it, 15 years had passed.